What's up, everybody? I'm Alex Giaimo, and I am honored to be joined by the recently announced CEO of SGC Grading, that is Mr. Peter Steinberg. Peter, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Alex. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. So we're going to do 2022 rapid fire, big predictions. We want to hear from you. You're a big deal, I hear. So I want to start with, what will you personally be collecting in 2022, Peter?
I will personally be collecting probably what I've been collecting of late, which is mostly high-end modern SGC graded cards. I've actually been getting some pretty sweet deals on those.
Yeah. Oh, you have any connections or what?
I'll continue to take advantage of this price gap while it lasts, because I think some things will be changing in the near future.
Oh, is that a prediction right there?
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Oh, people, get those grades into SGC now. All right, Peter, what do you think will be the biggest change in the hobby in 2022 next year?
Sure. I think the biggest change will probably just be continued education. I think that I actually was watching an interview of 𝐻𝐴𝐾𝐾𝐴𝑆𝐴𝑁 the other day, and one of the most poignant remarks that he had made, which I certainly agree with, is the fact that, the hobby has come such a long way over the last 12 months as far as just becoming more mature and educated. And what you see a lot less of is these kind of spikes on single game performance and kind of just all collectors really getting their feet under them as far as the hobby goes, because obviously with so much new blood that's rushed in, there was that initial excitement that kind of sent a lot of prices soaring in ways they maybe shouldn't have. So I think that just getting more collectors better educated on the landscape is something that will definitely be taking place in 2022.
All right, Mr. CEO, what do you think collectors will be buying more of next year?
Well, hopefully SGC cards, that's for sure. That's kind of what my job and my team's job is. We're going to be definitely getting a lot of the word out on the great work that this team does on a daily basis, and also educating really the public on the cards themselves. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're buying. You're not buying my brand against another brand. You're buying the card that you want to own for whatever reason. And I think we're going to be emphasizing that point. So hopefully we do a decent job of that.
I think you will. I have faith in you. What do you think collectors will be buying less of?
What will they be buying less of? Hopefully hype, I guess. That
good answer. I like that.
When someone goes out and tweets that a particular card is cool, that doesn't mean you should go snatch up 50 copies of it. I think that collectors should be buying what they enjoy. There's so much opportunity in this hobby, whether it's to participate for fun and buy what you love, or to try to treat these cards as investments and make money on them. I think there's just a lot of room there for everyone to kind of personalize their collections and stop worrying about what others are doing, and focus more on what you love and growing your collection in that respect.
That's what I'm doing with my PC. If I'm passionate in something, then, the sky's the limit. I'm never going to lose, right?
I definitely would agree with that.
Good. I love to hear it. All right. What do you think collectors will be doing more of next year?
What will they be doing more of? I think that as more and more people become better educated on the hobby, I think you'll see some tendencies. A lot of people, I believe modern collectors, will be gravitating more towards vintage, because they'll understand the significance of those cards with again, that greater education. I also think there will be a lot more holding, with the current state of the hobby being what it is. You see a lot of collectors, the second they receive that graded card, boom, it's on eBay. And I think what's going to be happening is as more, people become, I guess, more accustomed to being here for a while, and it not just being their first rodeo. I think the appreciation for the collectibles themselves will continue to grow, meaning more holding and less selling, which is honestly very healthy for our entire industry as a whole. So I'm hoping for that. The flipping is great, but at the same time, having a collection that you're really proud of and having those few cards you'll just never sell no matter what is also very healthy.
You just taught me something. So selling less is better for the hobby?
Well, I look at it this way, you know, at the end of the day, I always joke that I am an example of the reason this hobby moves, because I'm the dope that buys these cards for, you know, crazy prices, and give it, you know, leaving that margin for the middleman and things like that. In other words, if no one is appreciating the cards and collecting them, they'll never find a true home. And what's basically happening is they're just changing hands, and, you know, selling fees are being deducted and everyone gets hurt. So we need to make sure that we're in my humble opinion, I think that we need to make sure that we're kind of shedding light on the significance, the impact of these items themselves. Because again, if no one has a true desire to own them, rather a desire to flip them for a profit, there's only so much of that can take place. You know, so I think that's probably a better way to put it. It's the growing the love of the cards themselves rather than the love of the game and the hustle, if that makes sense.
Yes, and that's one of my favorite movies. May I add that? All right, what do you think collectors, Peter, will be doing less of next year? Tricky question, I know.
It is. You know, I'm not sure. Maybe panicking. I don't know. You know, I think what the hobby has just come such a long way in such a short amount of time. The amount of change that's taken place to such a drastic degree, and again, at such a rapid pace. I think we'll see a lot more stability, most likely, than we saw in the early months of this past year. But I don't know what they'll be doing less of. Hopefully it's, I don't know, spending their money elsewhere and just buying more and more cards.
All right, let's talk hobby stars. What person or people in general do you see possibly becoming, you know, the next big hobby star in 2022?
Right. I think, I hope that the hobby stars are the people that make the hobby better for everyone, rather than the people with the most unbelievable collections. Because the truth is, you know, it's like in life, everyone, if you drive the Corvette, someone's got the Maserati, and if someone has the Maserati, someone's got the Ferrari. You know, everyone could outdo each other, and there's you know, some people are very fortunate to be able to afford not just one Wagner but multiple Wagners. You know, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the person who is the most informed on what's going on, or the people that are actually contributing the most to the hobby. So I think what I hope happens is it's the microphone is given to those that are making it better for the average collector, rather than kind of the coolest dude in the room, if that makes any sense.
It makes complete and total sense. And I feel like that's kind of why I'm getting into this. So I love the vibe with that question. I mean, with that answer, I respect that so much. Which established company should collectors be on the lookout for or follow next year, Peter?
SGC. SGC. This is a company, you know, a lot of people don't even know, Alex. We hear so much from collectors that think that SGC is about 1.5 years, 2 years old. And it just blows my mind, because this is a company that's been grading trading cards for over 22 years. So I think that SGC kind of is that well-established brand, yet it's still, you're going to see a lot coming out of this place that you haven't seen for a while. Or really ever, for that matter, as far as the kind of aggressive push towards, you know, holding a more prominent seat at the table.
What up and coming, you know, newbie company should we be on the lookout for next year?
You know, there's a lot. There's actually so many of them. You know, sometimes one or two will be kind of presented to me, and I'm just so impressed with what they have going on. And then I also can't believe the fact that I wasn't even aware of what they're doing. You know, so I think the kind of the coolest thing with this almost gold rush that's taken place in trading cards is, you know, the more people that come in and help make this hobby better, the more kind of people that are being converted to collectors and making collecting easier, and you know, just making the entire process more efficient start to finish. So I think there's almost too many out there to pinpoint one and say, wow, they're doing it right. But it's pretty clear that a lot of pretty well-built companies are doing a lot of good stuff. And, you know, the experience is just going to continuously get better as more competition takes place. And, you know, hopefully we'll see that continue. So,
yeah. All right. Well, next year, 2022, we're very close to it. What will be the biggest surprise in the hobby?
You know, that's a tough one. Maybe, again, you know, maybe I'm a little biased, but I hope the biggest surprise is just the unbelievable progress that SGC continues to make. You know, at the start of 2021, if you said that SGC was the second grading company on the map, you know, you'd be looked at like you had three heads, because it just wasn't even, we weren't close. And what we've accomplished in closing and narrowing that gap, you know, our Gem Mint cards very often are outselling Beckett's Gem Mint cards on modern, and obviously our reputation with vintage has just remained as strong as ever. So, you know, I think that hopefully the big surprise is that SGC keeps this going. You know, with PSA essentially closed for business for so long, you know, we've had a very challenging but also very unique situation thrown at us. And hopefully as the landscape kind of normalizes itself, we surprise some people by continuing this push to, you know, get some more cards in the tuxedo holders and make collectors happy with a great grading experience.
And it starts from the top. So, you know, dust your shoulders off there a little bit. Bonus question. Are you going to the Mint Collective?
I will definitely be at the Mint Collective. I am super excited. I'm going to be speaking there, and it's almost like you put a microphone in front of me, all bets are off. I am not, you know, a very well-polished chief executive officer that was, you know, taken in from a Fortune 500 company. I am a collector through and through. I was the leader of this team when it was a very small team. And when it became a very large team, it was almost like, well, who else is going to do it? So I was put in this chair, and I'm just excited to get the messaging out to really the hobby as a whole, and hopefully inform a lot of people with the unique perspective of being on this side of the line as far as the grading process goes.
Now, when I first met you at the Chicago National, I went up to you and I introduced myself. I was like a little kid, but you guys had the best party in like the whole building. Should we be expecting that in Vegas? Like, are you going to be spinning the wheel, giving out stuff, or what?
You know, we're still finalizing our plans for Vegas, but I think no matter what, you know, one thing we were really proud of at the Nationals, we put a lot of smiles on faces. We enhanced their experience at the show, and we're looking to do the exact same thing at the Mint Collective. If we could just make you know, any collector's experience at the show a little better, I think we help this hobby in a small way. So hopefully we can continue to do that in whichever way. And I know I'll just be walking around, and if anyone's there, you know, introduce yourself. I'm very approachable, and you know, I'm really looking forward to the show.
He ain't lying, because I did it myself. Peter Steinberg, the CEO of SGC Grading, thank you so much for joining me. I cannot wait to see you at the Mint Collective. See you soon.
Thank you, Alex. Looking forward to it.